There was recently an event in my local community that made national news.
The latest to join the controversial battle over transgender athletes in sports. It all started with a transgender girl making the varsity cross-country team, and now there's a lawsuit and more.
A young girl from the varsity cross-country team lost her spot to a boy who was pretending to be a girl. The young lady returned to school a few days later alongside her friend, and they were both wearing a shirt that said, quote, "Save Girls Sports" on the front and XY does not equal XX on the back. They were brought into the admin office and told their shirts were like wearing swastikas in front of Jews, as absurd as that is. Their willingness to stand up to the ridiculous decrees of the public school is quite brave. In fact, their bravery has started a bit of a movement on their school campus, getting the support of hundreds of their peers. This made me think about a passage I wrote from Parallel. I think it applies here, and I hope the young people who are standing up to this find it encouraging. Tyranny is a two-way agreement. Thomas Jefferson once said, "When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty." Now, meekness is not weakness. Christ said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The definition of meekness is often misunderstood to be a general niceness related to passivity. Now, this isn't accurate, especially in the context in which Christ spoke. Meekness is strength under control, the ability to be capable of great destruction if one so chooses, but out of an abundance of discipline, patience, and wisdom, one chooses to restrain their power. The meek are only willing to unleash the full fury of their capability in the most dire of circumstances. The world will be inherited by such men. A good man is a dangerous man who chooses not to hurt others. A weak man who decides not to engage in conflict is not necessarily a good man, for he abstains not from a position of capability, but from a position of impotence. Like one who sits by watching as his wife and children are robbed and beaten, he only needs to act, possibly to his own bodily detriment, for them to be protected. This refers not just to the physical prowess he must have, it also refers to the power of his intellect, action, and an unwillingness to bow to nefarious decrees. For tyranny is a two-way agreement between those ruling and those agreeing to be ruled. Tragedies of the innocent are often due to the passivity and apathy of weak men. Ironically, it is those weak men seeing tragedy and feeling impotent who call on the power of the state to fix the very problem they themselves caused. There are those who wish evil upon you and your family, to imprison them in a prison with no bars. When the collectivists try to tell you what to feed your family or what your children must be taught in the state school, how can you say no? You can only say no from a position of power. You gain this needed power by having an alternative, somewhere else to go. Your ability to say no to the state 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now is predicated on the action you take today. If your social media, phone, and television are in the hands of third parties, do you have a way to communicate with others who share your sensibilities of freedom? If your money is in the hands of a third party, do you have the economic means to say no to the state? Being willing to say no to tyranny is one thing. Being able to say no to tyranny is an entirely different thing. A parallel system gives every man, woman, and child who is willing the ability. As Robert F. Kennedy once said, no one ever complied their way out of totalitarianism.